Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to our second Mental Health Monday discussion. I hope and pray that you're all doing well and want to thank you for watching the video and accepting and walking out last week's challenge that asked you to identify one thing that you would do to let go and let God. I want to help you with the various challenges that we will be given on a weekly basis. So please send me a message on Facebook, call the church, or send an email. Last week, I mentioned that a first step to dealing with a mental health problem is to admit that we have a mental health problem. So what is mental health? Mental health refers to our psychological, emotional, and behavioral or social well-being. Our mental health affects how we feel, think, and act, which means that it impacts how we deal and cope with stress, interact with people in our environment, and the choices we make. As we mature, unresolved personal experiences such as abuse, grief, or trauma, and unresolved generational issues such as absentee parents or a lack of conflict resolution are passed down to us, and that can lead to mental health problems. This means that many of our emotional, relational, psychological, and behavioral problems are connected to our mental health. We may be afraid or ashamed to admit that we have a mental health struggle because we think it will become an unnecessary distraction from real life demands and expectations. However, the truth is that avoiding the topic of our own mental health only deepens the hurt and keeps us stuck. So today, I want us to examine a few questions as it relates to our mental health. Again, you do not have to do this alone. Please send me a personal message on Facebook. You can email me at shcottawa@hotmail.com or call me if you need help with this. So the questions that I want you to ask yourself are from what I call the mental health checklist. And there are 6 questions that I want us to consider this week. The first one is, have I experienced a stressful or tragic event that I know that I have not addressed? So for example, losing a loved one to death, being a victim or a survivor of an assault or other violent act, losing your job, suffering a miscarriage, going through a divorce, avoiding people or situations that reminds me or reminds us of a painful or stressful experience, witnessing a tragic event, dealing with the suicide of someone close to you, and so forth. Number 2, do I experience extreme mood swings? For example, do you notice that sometimes your mood goes up and down? You have peaks and valleys. One moment you may feel joy or happiness, and the next you may feel sad or depressed. Third question, I often feel pessimistic about the future, believing there's no point to life. For example, I feel that I will not be successful, so I stop trying or believing. And I've even considered death as an option. A fourth question, I have trouble falling and staying asleep often. I often feel tired, lethargic, and has trouble concentrating even though I have slept for many hours. Number 5, when I feel stressed or anxious, my devotion to God weakens. I isolate myself from others, overeat or restrict my food. I use drugs, alcohol, sex, and pornography to cope. The 6th question is, do I often blame others or feel ashamed and guilty when I do something wrong? Now, this checklist is not exhaustive, But keep in mind that if at least one of these questions or statements applies to you, it is an indicator that you're not functioning at your best, most likely because your mental health needs some attention. As Christian, this is important because our mental health affects how we relate to God, and how we relate to God affects how we enjoy and experience the Christian life. The point is, your mental health could be what is hindering you from having the abundant life that God has for you. This is our mental health challenge for this week. Think on the questions that you just heard and answer them for yourself. Reach out to me, Reverend Lorraine, Sister Natalie, or Pastor. I want you to remember that we are here for you. I want you to take time to assess yourself with these questions. If you have answered yes to any of them, next week we will talk about what you can do. So to close, I want to remind you that God does desire that each of us has good health, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, relationally, and financially. At Shiloh, we are committed to you being healthy in every area of your life. Those of you who come to Shiloh, you know our foundation scripture well, which is taken from 3 John 2, and it says, "Beloved, I pray that all may go well with you, and that you may be in good health as it goes well with your soul." So I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this. Please remember to do the mental health checklist assessment. The questions will be in the description of the YouTube page section. And I pray that you will have good mental health experiences this week. Take care and God bless.